Bill, why don't we get started? Bill's going to mute everybody, and we'll start our program with the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem.
The Pledge of Allegiance is the St. Francis Cabrini School. This was on January 31st.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
And for our patriotic Star Spangled Banner, this is one that is in honor of a singer who just passed recently, Meatloaf. This is him singing the national anthem, July 1994 at the All-Star Game in Pittsburgh.
And now, to honor America, please join Grammy Award-winning MCA recording artist, Meatloaf, as he sings the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And we have some birthdays. Watson Hart's is on February 22nd. Watson's not here today. Rosemary Cucker's here. Her birthday is on February 20th. And then we have the birthday boy, John Kennedy. His birthday's today. So, Bill, I believe you have a little song for us.
I'll share the screen again and take over control.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you. Ding pong.
There you go. Neil.
Thank you, Bill. Where are we? Inspiration. Barb, do you have some words of inspiration for us today? Okay, Bill, why don't we go to history?
We will do history from the morning call, February 2nd, 1928. Dr. George Ettinger makes a plea for devotion of more time towards soul development. Dr. George Ettinger, Dean of Muhlenberg College, spoke on the subject of what is real education at the meeting of the Easton Kiwanis Club at the Hotel Easton Wednesday noon. He said that the general impression was prevalent that a college education fitted a man for earning a good living, but he said that it is something greater than this. It is teaching the student to have a broader view of life and to develop a finer conscience of right and wrong. He concluded with an urge for the people of today to devote less time and energy to making money and seeking pleasure, and to devote more time towards developing their souls. Dr. Ettinger was introduced by Dean Donald Prentice of Lafayette College, who was introduced as a guest of the club. The meeting, which was largely attended, was presided over by President Roseberry and Reverend Hetrick, who offered the prayer. Paul Smith led the singing, and W.R. Simmers at the piano. George Seibel of the Stunt Committee celebrated Groundhog Day by offering for exhibition a groundhog. On motion of Kiwani and Harold G. Harvey, the city authorities and the transit company were given a rising vote of appreciation for their splendid work in clearing away the snow as promptly and as efficiently as they did. Guests were Earl Eckel, Washington Kiwanis Club, E.H. Goodrich and Professor Brenninger, Lafayette College faculty, and Frankner of Scranton, and Schilling and Seipel from Easton. And yes, back in the days of the trolleys, I believe they were used a lot for clearing the snow in downtown Easton.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay,
Barb?
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my screen is totally different from what it usually is, and I had to pull up a different way to unmute myself. Anyway, I have a quote here from Morgan Freeman, who once said, "Self-control is strength. Calmness is mastery. You have to get to a point where your mood doesn't shift based on the insignificant actions of someone else. Don't allow others to control the direction of your life. Don't allow your emotions to overpower your intelligence." And along those same lines, here's another quote from some educators in regards to children with maybe a few little disabilities, maybe learning disabilities, dyslexia, that kind of thing. From Diane Ravitch: "Sometimes the most brilliant and intelligent minds do not shine in standardized tests because they do not have standardized minds." And another brief one along the same lines from a teacher: "I thought I would have to teach my child about the world, but it turns out I have to teach the world about my child." This is some food for thought for the day.
Thank you, Barb. That was very, very great and inspirational. We have a couple of guests today. Kathy Zemansky, Bill introduced you earlier, but would you like to say a few things to our club and the Phillipsburg Club?
Sure, I'm just happy to be here. Happy that Bill keeps me on the weekly emails. Typically I'm busy on Wednesday, but today I'm bored at work, so thought I'd join. Good to see everyone.
And Nancy, we have Nancy Amaker from Paxenosa School. She's joined us today. How are
Hi,
you?
everyone. Nice to see you.
Our speakers today are from the Phillipsburg Kiwanis Club. I mean, Helene Meisner and Debbie Mead. We would like to welcome you today, and maybe you can tell us a little about yourselves and then tell us what wonderful things your club's doing. I know you're very active.
Well, we are, and we're very excited to tell you about our club. Debbie is our current lieutenant governor for our division in New Jersey, so we're really pleased and proud to have a lieutenant governor from our club again. And I am the secretary of the club and have been for 30 years. So, you know, it's one of those jobs for life, but also the longest serving member. So I guess I know more than everyone. Hopefully my memory doesn't fade. But we have a really wonderful history over the years with Easton and the Easton Club. And so we thought it would be fun to tell you a little bit. Our clubs are so very different. We are very small, you're very large, but in the Kiwanis spirit, there's still a lot of things that we both do and do well. And it's kind of fun to take a walk down memory lane from time to time. I went back into our history and I looked, and it really was very entertaining. So the fact is, in August of 1922, 7 of Phillipsburg's finest walked across the bridge to go have lunch at the Pomfret Club. And 100 years later, some of you are still hanging out there. So, but that meeting actually served as the meeting where they decided to form a Kiwanis Club in Phillipsburg. The charter actually came the following year in March of 1923, and it was a huge dinner dance. 300 people attended, and it was at the Silk Mill in Phillipsburg. And it was really quite something. Now, there weren't 300 members at the time, but these were all the invited guests and spouses and significant others. Unfortunately, due to hard times, the club only lasted 8 years, and they folded in 1930, but not before they had sponsored another club in Washington, New Jersey. So then, ironically, 47 years later, in 1977, the Kiwanis Club of Washington sponsored a new club here in Phillipsburg, which is the club that we currently have. So we kind of enjoy that unique distinction that we are each other's sponsors. And so that's something that we often talk to people about because we think it's kind of cute. But as the years went by, the club struggled with membership, as so many clubs do. In its heyday, they had about 50 or 60 members of this club. And I will say that most of them attended the weekly meetings very regularly, very religiously. And so attendance was not a problem. But over time, attendance did start to wane. And a lot of changes took place over the years to try and maintain the membership that they had and also increase the membership. So initially, it was a club that met every single week at lunchtime. And then they switched and tried every single week at dinner time. And then they tried a hybrid version and did 3 weeks of a lunch meeting and 1 week at a dinner meeting, hopefully offering something to everyone. And then they went to, when Kiwanis allowed it, they changed to a bi-weekly meeting. So they were meeting 2 nights a month. And still, it was hard to have the attendance maintained. We also changed locations a number of times. And those of you that are from Phillipsburg, which sounds like a lot of you, are going to laugh about this. But so these are the places that the Kiwanis Club of Phillipsburg met over the years. The Peak Inn, Harmony Manor, Schaefer House, Larry Holmes Commodore Inn, China Garden, Ryan's Parkside Restaurant, and Il Gaetano. And I will tell you that of all of those places, only one is still in existence today. The others have all closed over the years. And then over recent years, we even tried meeting here in the conference room at my office for several years in an attempt to keep the cost down by eliminating a meal cost, thinking that that might attract some of the younger members. You know, we're always talking about former Key Club and former Circle K students joining Kiwanis once they're finished. But I think, as most of us have realized, they're not going to join immediately after they get out of college. They've got careers to start, they've got homes to buy, they've got families to start, they've got student loans to pay off. And that's probably not the time that it's going to happen. It will happen several years later, but still, we were trying to keep the costs down so that younger members would find it more attractive. We really hit rock bottom. I would say about 8-9 years ago, we were down to 5 members and we were losing hope, but we just decided we could not let it die. Some of us would not let it die. I am happy to tell you that today we are back up to charter strength of 15 members, and we're working really hard to keep that number increasing as well. But it is tough. Phillipsburg is a very economically depressed area. And I'm sure you've noticed this too, but gone are the days when every business wanted representation at community service groups, and they would pay members dues to have one of their associates be a member of Kiwanis or Rotary or Lions. That doesn't happen anymore. So now, as we're trying to attract people, not only do we want their time and their talent, but we also want their own personal treasure as well. So I think there are very few companies that still pay dues for their employees to belong to organizations by hours. So that certainly had an effect on it. We really think the one thing that has helped us recently is the fact that we have changed to what is known as a 3-2-1 club. And in case you've never heard of it, I swear to you, it is a legal, viable option offered by Kiwanis International. So as a 3-2-1 club, what we commit to every month is 3 hours of service, 2 hours of social, and 1 hour of meeting a month. 3 hours of service is not a problem. We always have lots of projects going on, even as a small club. So that's pretty easy for everyone to do. 2 hours of social, I think, is the glue that is going to hold us together. I will tell you that last month, for the month of January, our social activity was we formed a trivia team for the trivia night down at Invertaste Brewing, and we had a blast. We came in second to last, but we had a great time. So there were 5 of us that tried out trivia night at Invertaste, and that was our social event. As far as meetings go, we meet on the 3rd Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock at night at Soma Downtown Grill, one of our local restaurants on South Main Street. And I will tell you that our meetings usually last longer than an hour, simply because we're all having such a good time. So that 3-2-1 formula is not for everyone, but I can tell you that for a small club like ours, it really does work well, and it has worked well. As an old timer, I will admit that when we first went even to bi-weekly meetings and then to the once a month, I was kind of out of sorts because I felt so disconnected from everyone and everything. You know, if you were meeting twice a month and you missed one meeting, then it was a long stretch between seeing people. But I think having the social aspect in there has helped us maintain communication with one another, and it has made the 3-2-1 a very viable option for us. Another reason that I think we have survived is because of the SLPs, the student leadership programs. We have a very big, very active Key Club at Phillipsburg High School. Prior to COVID, they had over 210 members. Now, these past 2 years with COVID, obviously that has changed a bit, but we still have over 100 members in the club, even though they cannot meet in person and everything has been done virtually. And they have so many projects going on. They always, I think there are 6 or 7 right now. So that's been great because we have been able to work with them jointly on projects, and that has kept us active. We don't have a Circle K to sponsor because there's no college around here. The closest one is Centenary University, and they are already sponsored by another club. Over the years, we've had a couple of builders clubs, but due to budget cuts in the school district, the advisor stipends were eliminated, and so the clubs folded. But we are in the process now of trying to start a K-Kids at one of our local elementary schools. So hopefully that'll give us another SLP program to support in the years to come. I also think that one of the reasons we have been successful in surviving is that we don't care just about our club and what we do here. We have always been very, very active, both on the district and the division level. Our club has produced 5 lieutenant governors, 1 district foundation president, 1 district governor, and several committee chairs. We also have people that have in the past and do currently serve on the Kiwanis Committee on Circle K and the Kiwanis Committee on Key Club. Our Key Club has produced 7 lieutenant governors, 1 district treasurer, and 1 district governor. And I really do believe that having someone serve on the district level really keeps you much better informed and much more involved in all the different Kiwanis initiatives. So that has been a really good thing for us. We also love to party, and we're always willing and anxious to attend midwinter conferences, district conventions, international conventions, and we still are. Some years we fight over who's going to go, but that's been a good thing for us. And I'll just interject a little story here. My daughter, who lives in Denver, Colorado, was involved in Kiwanis in New Jersey before she moved out there, and then was involved once she got to Colorado. She got married in Denver in April of 2019. And at her wedding, there was a whole table of Kiwanians from the Rocky Mountain District in Colorado. And we had a great time together. One of them was a young man that I had met in 2015 at the Kiwanis International Convention in Japan. And so I think that's one of the really fun things about Kiwanis. Those are connections that would never have happened if it had not been for Kiwanis. And I think it's really neat that we can have those ties with people all around the country and all around the world. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm the longest serving member of our club. I have belonged to this club for 30 years. I belonged to Kiwanis for 33 years. I joined in 1989 at another club in New Jersey. But I do love thinking back on all of the wonderful projects we've done, some things that we've all done together. Some of my fondest memories, of course, are all the years that we did Derriere in the Delaware, which for those of you that may not know is a wonderful tube float down the Delaware River. I can still picture Lock Peak in that old-fashioned striped bathing suit, standing along the edge of the river. Our Key Club kids helping people out of their inner tubes as they came down. There was good food, there was good music, there was good fun, and we raised thousands and thousands of dollars for the youth centers, both the Spring Garden Youth Center in St. Anthony's in Pennsylvania, as well as the Firth Youth Center here in New Jersey. So I think it was a great opportunity. It was kind of sad when that program ended, but you know, while it lasted, it was really great. There's some cute t-shirts still around, and we have lots of pictures from that activity. Another joint project that we did, and Bill Walters will attest for me, was we always contributed, along with all of you in Pennsylvania, to the technical award that was given at the Freddie Awards every year at the State Theater. And so we were happy to do that. Certainly our students participated in the Freddie Awards just as much as all of your schools did. But, you know, times have changed, and we've had to change with them, and I'm sure you have too. But we really do continue to do a lot of service projects, and I just want to list a couple that we do. And if you have questions about any of them afterwards, you can certainly ask us. And remember, we're only 15 members, small but mighty. We do the soup kitchen at Wesley United Methodist Church 3 times a year. We purchase all the food, cook all the food, serve all the food, or in a COVID world, box it up to be delivered. We prepare meals for Safe Harbor several times a year. We put on themed parties at local care centers. We have 3 senior nursing homes, if you will. So we'll do a Valentine party at one, and a St. Patrick's Day party at another, and a 4th of July party at another. And we rotate it around each year. We've done a lot of cards and letters to military personnel. We do adopt-a-family shopping during the holidays with our Key Club students, names of families and children that have been referred to us. We have a birthday bag project, which actually won the signature project contest in New Jersey a couple of years back when we first started it. We give out scholarships to our high school Key Club students every year. We have an ongoing shoe drive that we do that it serves as both a fundraiser and a service project. Since COVID in particular, but other times as well, we have been packing emergency food bags here at Norwest Cap Food Bank, and that was a really big project during COVID. We would pack hundreds of emergency food bags every week for distribution. We do makeup bags for a dress boutique that is held each year at our youth center, so that girls can go and pick out any dress for a prom, a graduation, a baccalaureate, and all the dresses are only $10. And we put together makeup bags with a little note of encouragement inside, and every girl that shops at the boutique gets a makeup bag from our Kiwanis Club. We have a commercial popcorn machine that we drag out to community events, and we either sell or just give away popcorn. So our name is out there in the community. We've taken part in community cleanup days. We've worked at our railroad excursion at Thomas the Tank Engine, and all kinds of things. So we are really proud of all the things we've been able to do, even as a small club. And we look forward to continuing them and taking on some new projects as we get bigger and bigger. So we've done things together in the past, but it would be great if we could figure out a way to do a project or 2 together now, because I think the interaction is helpful for both of us. So that's our small but mighty history. And, you know, it is what it is. We don't have a lot of financial resources, and we don't have a lot of members, but we have a lot of enthusiasm. So that's that. Deb, did you want to add something?
Well, I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, I remember when I was club president back probably in 2003, the governors of both the New Jersey district and the Pennsylvania district floated down the river together, and attending that check presentation the year I was president was very inspiring to me, because I knew how much we raised, and, you know, just bringing that back, that was such a great event. And I met Helene when I worked for Norwestcap back in 1992 or 93. And that was my first introduction to Kiwanis, but I didn't join until about 9 years later. But I moved out of state. And then when I came back, I was so happy to be able to join this club again. Although I was a member of a big club in Florida, we had a lot of resources. I missed the connection of people that I feel that we have, being a smaller club. And our presidents do a great job at keeping us informed. With technology, we get regular emails. So even though we meet once a month, we're still kept up to date on what's happening in our club. So very proud to be a member of this club and to represent our division on the district level as a first-time lieutenant governor. And I'm hoping for a second term, because it's not enough to do one term. Kathy will probably agree. You just get started and your time is over. So I'm hoping that, you know, I can continue and do that. So thank you very much for inviting us and for hosting this great meeting. A lot of good things came out already that you do that we don't do. So taking a lot of mental notes. So thank you very much.
Well, a lot of good things came out that you do that we don't do. It's amazing how much you do for a smaller club. And you know, I think we should do more projects together. We'll need to figure something out. Any questions for our guests?
Helene, I have to correct you. You're not an old member, you're a long-time member.
You're right, I'm a long-time member. I don't know, I'm feeling pretty old these days, but okay, I'll go with long time.
I have two questions. Number one is, and I agree with Neil, you do so much, it doesn't matter the size from what you told us. I mean, I can't imagine how you had the time or the personnel to do it all, but do you have a major fundraiser? Like in Easton, we have the super raffle and the rose sale. Do you have a major fundraiser?
We've tried different things over the years, and we even jumped on that bandwagon with the rose sale a couple of years in a row when Steve Ganley was in New Jersey. I wouldn't say we have one, but we usually raise our money through, well, our shoe drive fundraiser. And when I say a lot of money, I'm talking $1,000. That's a lot of money to us. So our shoe drive fundraiser, which is ongoing, raises money. We also volunteer every year at the train excursion that I mentioned, Thomas the Tank Engine. And the beautiful thing about that is after the event is all over, it runs usually 2 weekends each summer, and different volunteer groups help with the event. Once the event is over, the organizers of the Delaware River Railroad excursions, they make charitable donations to each of the groups that sent volunteers based on the number of people they sent. So between our Key Club and our Kiwanis Club, over the years, we've raised thousands of dollars through that. We also volunteer at the New Jersey Festival of Ballooning, and it's a similar thing. We'll work one of the beverage stands and we get a cut of the profits from that. So that has been a boon for us as well. We've tried smaller fundraisers also, but those are the ones that I think bring in the most money.
Barb.
I just want to add, our scholarship fund usually was able only to give out a $500 scholarship, one scholarship. We were able to increase the fund, and due to the unfortunate passing of one of our members, her family asked, and we decided to name the scholarship in her honor. And they were able to do a fundraiser and make a very, very large contribution to our scholarship fund through their fundraiser in memory of their mother. So that's something now this year, you know, as we give out a scholarship, we'll have to decide, you know, are we going to increase the amount because we have more money? So that's something that just happened over the last year. So something very, very good.
Barb, I'm going to suggest put a tickler on your calendar when the rose sale information comes out. Let's share it with Helene. We've been packing the roses in downtown Easton across from Ken Brader's. There's no reason why you couldn't be involved selling roses and add them to the quantity that we get, come over and pack them and take them home and sell them, you know. So we'll try to remember to keep you in our loop for that. That's in
that would work well for us as a club with you. When it was done in New Jersey before, it was done on a district level, and I think they were a little disappointed with the overall effort, but we did well as a club, so that would certainly be something we would consider again.
Yeah, we could partner with that.
Yeah.
Bill, there's only one thing we have to agree to. They can't take my Phillipsburg customers away from me, okay?
Okay, promise.
Helene, we go further back to some of the projects you didn't mention, our IU20 Kids Christmas Party. That goes back to Easton and Phillipsburg. I joined in '82, and that was happening at that time before that already with Easton and Phillipsburg Kiwanis. Wasn't called IU20 because at that time it was the, I believe it was called the Retarded Children's Organization, something ARC, something like that.
ARC, right. It was the ARC Christmas Party, yes.
1 year it was in Phillipsburg, 1 year it was in Easton.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I remember when I came to the Phillipsburg Club in 1992.
I have a question. Helene, I'm
Yes.
curious. I'm curious as to how your shoe drive makes money for your club.
Well, we contract with a group called Funds2Org, FUNDS, number 2, ORGS, Funds2Orgs, and I can certainly send it to Bill to share with him. They are based out of Florida, Georgia, one of the southern companies. Anyway, you collect new or gently used or worn shoes, men's, women's, children. They send you supplies, which are big clear plastic bags and special rubber bands. You have to tie the shoes together either with laces or band them together with their rubber bands. 25 pair of shoes go into each of these plastic bags. You set a goal when you start with them that you're going to collect whatever. Our goal is usually 2,500 pair. And so as you collect them, once you have finished your project or halfway through, if you're running out of space, they will send a truck to come pick them up. They pay you 40 cents per pound for the shoes, but you have to reach your goal. If you don't reach your full 2,500 pair in the allotted period of time, they will deduct, I think it's $250 kind of like as a fee, but you're still making, you know, hundreds, if not $1,000 on the shoes. The big kicker, I will tell you, because this is tough, is the space. It takes up, so, I mean, we have people collecting shoes all over the place and dropping them off. Fortunately, I have a lot of space down here in my warehouse because I have 2 buildings side by side. So we keep them in my annex building. And then we get together, you know, one weekend every couple of months to bag them up and count them. It takes quite a while to collect 2,500 pair of shoes, but if you have key clubs or other groups helping you or businesses around town that will let you put up a collection barrel or whatever, it can be done. And then when they come to pick them up, they send a truck. So again, it has to be at a place that has, you know, a loading dock and or people that can help them load up the truck when they come. So there are some logistical challenges to it, but again, we have that resource available to us through my work. So we've been able to do it for, I think we've done it 3 or 4 years in a row.
I have a question for the Lieutenant Governor. How many clubs are in your division?
We have currently 6 clubs. They're all pretty much active. Some of them meet in person, some have a Zoom hybrid, and one has a telephone call where they do like a conference call. But small division, we were 2 years
Broken out,
ago. Yeah, we were a redistrict in New Jersey just because of the location. We were with North New Jersey, and it was very difficult to get, and it was a large division at that time. So coming down 6 is very manageable. No.
Thank you.
With all the obviously difficulties you had in arranging different meetings and hybrid meetings, have you attempted to do Zoom meetings
Are you talking about for the club or the division?
for the club?
Well, the club we did during COVID, we did Zoom meetings for a little while. And then we did a hybrid. Some people wanted to still meet in person, but we had the Zoom option available. I will say that was a little tricky because we were at a restaurant and the sound quality was very difficult for the people at home to hear. Now we're back completely to in person and everyone is really excited about it.
We also changed to make our meeting a little bit more affordable. We were ordering off the menu, and we realized that a lot of us were ordering hors d'oeuvres. So we decided to work with the restaurant and provide a $10 buffet. So she puts out 3 items, a salad and 2 hot items, and it's $10 per member. And then if they want a beverage, it's an additional cost. But that was something we did in the last couple months.
Yeah, 4 months.
Yeah, through this calendar year. So that makes it, even a little bit more affordable. Not that the cost was ever prohibitive, but it also cuts down on the time that we have to wait for our food to be delivered. So we're able to eat a little earlier and we don't have to, take as many orders. So always looking to improve and make things as efficient as possible.
Well, we've started meeting at Serve twice a month, I guess is what we've looked at now, and then doing 2 meetings on Zoom, or 1 meeting on Zoom, and having a board meeting either at the Boys and Girls Club or somewhere else. So we've been trying to, the Zoom meetings help us because we have some members that it's difficult for them to get to a meeting, so we can include more members. I don't know, I'm looking today, we've got 19 people right now. We had 20 some, Bill, I guess, to start with. Our meetings at Serve have been in the 20 range. We actually, we used to get maybe 15, 16, 17 at the Pomfret Club. We seem to have more at Serve. It's a little more expensive, but parking's available and it seems to work for us so far. And we're going to go back there next week. One comment before I forget, your banquet committee is meeting with the Pomfret Club this afternoon. I'm meeting Joanne at 1:30 to get out and talk about we have three functions coming up: the super raffle, the Policeman of the Year award, and we're looking at an evening banquet. So that's 3 things we're going to look at.
And
I'll add something else that I think that I want to make you aware of. I sent this to Terry, but on the last Wednesday of May, we're going to be honoring the recipient from the Easton Emergency Squad. She's possibly going to be off on maternity leave, like as of soon as next week. So we decided to, I spoke with their president, Buddy Shaw, last night, and he felt that she'd be up and around and so forth like that by the last Wednesday in May. So that May 25th meeting, when you talk to the Pomfret Club, see about the possibility of us having a meeting on the 25th of May to honor the emergency squad member.
All right. Yeah, we're kind of we got a preliminary quote that Bill got, but prices have increased significantly, put it that way. So we're going to see what we can do.
Fortunately, I was sitting down when I opened the email because it knocked me over.
Well, prices for everything have increased significantly. So
Not 90%, not 90%.
Oh, no, that's a little steep.
Yeah, that was what the Pomfret Club raised at 90%.
Wow.
Any other questions?
Neil, I just messaged you, Neil, the list of all the upcoming meetings. So that way you have it when you get down to the Pomfret Club.
Okay, all right, that sounds good.
Repeat who you're doing. What are you getting? You're getting one for Charlie, one for
Charlie,
one for the fundraiser.
One for the fundraiser, one for the policeman of the year, and now potentially for the emergency squad, correct, Walt?
Yes, well, the policeman of the year, I just checked on Monday night when I went to the FLP meeting, and they still have this regulation in effect that they frown upon the police going outside of the city. So if we end up, if it's not going to happen at Serve, because that's up in Forks Township.
Yeah, well, that's
going to be the Pomfret Club, or we may have to impose upon Dean, maybe over the Boys and Girls Club or someplace else in the city.
all right. Are they willing, put it this way, at this point in time with COVID, are they willing to meet? I mean, we've postponed this thing 3 times or whatever.
Well, the chief is the one that asked me to postpone the October recognition to May. So I told them May 11th would be the Wednesday that's closest to May 15th. And I haven't heard otherwise.
Okay. All right, well, we'll proceed that way. And anything else?
For Phillipsburg, why did they stop doing the Derriere and the Delaware?
Actually, I think it was a joint decision. I think when Lock Peak stepped down, nobody really wanted to take it over. And initially it went to, was it PAL, Bill? I think PAL took it over
Police
for a year or
Athletic
two.
League, yes.
Yeah.
We did it for a couple of years.
Yeah, and it went on for a couple more years, and then it just dissolved. But
A
it was such a fun event.
A big part of the problem was Case's Tire Service was still in business at the foot of College Hill. That's where they stored all the tubes and everything. And then, deflating tire tubes and then folding them up. And they're not as small as they are when you took them out of the original package. And so say storing hundreds of those was a logistical problem. Just like if you didn't have your warehouse, I don't know if you'd be doing your shoe program.
That's absolutely true.
And
We
and
also
didn't-
have in Phillipsburg, I think 2 businesses that now do tube floats.
Yes.
So that would kind of conflict with, you could do it and pay, but it was just a fun event. It was because of what happened in the community as a part of that down along the river, the music, food. I don't know if it was food trucks or food trucks.
Yeah, there wasn't food trucks in existence then, but there was food stands. We got the school buses were donated to take them back.
That's right.
The water rescue team would be there to put them in and take them out. The logistics today of trying to do that would be a bit
monumental.
Yes, and try to find cars that now have inner tubes.
That's true.
We had a problem. We were getting inner tubes from Taiwan and Korea through 10th Street Tire. But then the owner of 10th Street Tire was having a problem getting tubes because anymore there are very few cars that have inner tubes in their tires. So the only thing he had access to was truck tires, and they were too big for any little kids that wanted to come on the float. So it just became a problem with that.
Yeah, it was great while it lasted.
The year the 2 Kiwanis governors was Janet Owen from Pennsylvania. And she talked about it a lot after that.
Yeah.
Anything else? Sounds like it's lunchtime. Well, we appreciate you joining us. I think you've given us some good ideas. I think our goal would be to come up with another fun activity. Bill?
Real quickly, I wanted to mention, thanks to Sarni, we now have a Venmo account. Nick, did you hear that? We have a Venmo account. So when we start working on our super raffle event, we will tie that into it and we'll make social media and hopefully we can sell out of the tickets before everybody buys what they want.
And just in that light, at our meeting next week at Serve, we're going to induct Sarni officially into our club.
Don't forget to bring your paddles.
Hey, while Kathy Szymanski is still on, Kathy, I have not heard. I emailed. You remember when I emailed you about trying to do something with Michael Nkwanga from Uganda, and you referred me to Gloria Bidgood. I sent an email to her, and I haven't heard back from her. What is she in charge of exactly, if you know?
She's actually one of the volunteer coordinators at Kiwanis International. Walt. She should have responded. Even if she wasn't the person, she's normally who I direct people to. I will resend her what you carbon copied me on, and just ask if there's been any response on this. And just as an FYI, there's a big reason I referred you to that. Just because, and that's for everybody on this call, many of us are hearing from other districts, and I'm not going to get specific, requesting our help, requesting money, requesting all sorts of stuff. And I highly recommend, before you send any money or ask for assistance, that you contact Kiwanis International. Just because they're Kiwanians doesn't necessarily mean they need money, doesn't necessarily mean they need help. I think it's just sad what's happening in the Kiwanis world right now with some of these foreign Kiwanis clubs.
I already advised Walt of that. I said, because there is part of Kiwanis Europe or something like that is working on Africa. And I said, find out from International who that is, and everything I think should go through them.
Yeah, I just, in the past 3 years, I've learned how to be politically correct on some responses. I don't really care, but on something like this, I've learned how to be very politically correct on my responses, Walt.
Yeah, well, I remember I made a referral to you, and then I got disillusioned a little bit because I found out this other gentleman that I was talking to was not even a Kiwanian. He was leading me to believe he was a member of a Kiwanis club and needed money for the club. And that's when I sent to you, and it turned out that he wasn't a Kiwanian at all.
They see you on social media. They see, for you, Walt, everybody knows you as, a retired police officer as well as Kiwanis. Those are your passions, and they just boom right into it. So me, they know my passion is Fred Flintstone. So hey.
All right. Well, I thank you for the referral, and I did forward an email to Gloria. I just didn't know, I haven't heard back from her, and I just didn't know what she was in charge of. But thank you for that.
I just wrote it down, the contact her, Walt. I'll take care of it.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Just as another FYI, Sue got an email yesterday from Ken and Lois with a Dropbox, asking to open up a Dropbox. Don't open it, delete it.
Yep.
It was a phishing email. So I don't know how many, I didn't get it, but Sue did. So I don't know how it worked, but I guess Ken said other people must have received it too.
Well, I received it, but did not click on it or open it, send Ken a message because it was not his proper email. And the interesting thing, Kathy, is the fact that I left it sitting in on my inbox. I went back a couple hours later, and that had totally disappeared from my whole inbox system. It wasn't anywhere to be found on my computer.
All right. Well, I think that should about wrap it up. Bill, do we have a bell today?
We've always got a bell sitting on my desk.
And hopefully we'll see everybody at Serve next week or maybe on a Zoom call. Have a good week.
See everyone next week.
Thanks so much for having
Enjoyed
us.
it.